Today, I am answering the question I get asked the most. How can I afford my digital nomad lifestyle? How can I afford to travel the world and still own a home in my home base here in Canada? I am not going to gatekeep anything. I will be sharing everything from how much I earn from all of my different income streams to how much I spent traveling last year in 2024. If you're new here, by the way, hi, my name is Ebony. I've been a digital nomad for over 8 years, which means I work full time as I'm traveling the world, and I'm passionate about sharing this lifestyle with everyone. If you're curious about the digital nomad lifestyle, or if you just want to travel with me, it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to my channel for the mere price of free $99. But it would help me out a lot, and just knowing that someone in the world is watching these videos and hopefully I'm adding value to your life brings a lot of joy to me. I'd really appreciate it. All right, now let's get to it.
You've arrived at your destination.
I think first things first, you need to know where I've traveled in 2024 to get a good idea of how much I've spent and how much I've made. So we actually started the 2024 year in Paris as we ended in the UK and flew from the UK to celebrate New Year's in Paris. And then we came home for about a month or so before heading to Latin America for 5 months. In Latin America, we spent 3 months in Costa Rica, 1 month in Guatemala, and 1 month in Bocas del Toro in Panama. On top of that, I also had to travel to Banff, Portugal, Oregon, and Republic Dominicaine for work, and we're now back in Canada as Jamie really wanted to take French lessons in person, and I'm doing my yoga teacher training while we're here. Which means that in 2024, we traveled full-time for 6 months, and we were also home for 6 months, which honestly was the balance that we really needed last year. Before I even start with my income, I kind of want to say a disclaimer. There are no set incomes needed to become a digital nomad. This really all depends on the destinations where you want to travel to, your lifestyle, and your needs. I'll be honest, I do consider myself a champagne nomad, but on an apple cider budget. Jokes aside, because we travel for such long periods of times, because I'm older, and because we're working full-time as we're traveling, I really value comfort over everything, and I am 100% willing to pay to get that. In my 20s, I was staying in cheap hostels and I didn't care because I was essentially a backpacker. I wasn't working as I'm traveling. But now things are really different. So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's get into my forms of income. My first source of income comes from being a contractor. The company is fully remote with a work from anywhere policy. For this contract, I make between $4,000 and $4,800 USD per month. So in 2024, I became a certified travel agent and I decided to give this route a go. I figured, hey, I love traveling, I love organizing trips. This is so aligned with what I'm already doing, and this could be an extra source of income. It's gonna be great. Boy, was I wrong. Listen, I could get into a full rampage of why the whole industry is a complete scam and it didn't align with me at all or my values. But for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna give you the rundown. So I've booked approximately 25 trips, and I even booked a full wedding for 25 people overseas, and I've made a miserable $4,000 for the whole entire year. Just FYI, booking one trip for a client is on average 5 to 6 hours of work. And for the wedding, I literally stopped counting after 100 hours of work. It's just insane. So to be fair, I should have made $10,000 only on the wedding, but I got scammed by the agency I was working with and ended up making only $4,000. So I am no longer working as a travel agent, but I did give it a try and it was a source of income for 2024. Okay, This is one of my favorite side hustles. It's gonna sound super weird, but I just gave it a go and it completely worked out for me in 2024. I love dancing and I decided to offer twerk dance lessons. And it just worked. Like, it completely blew up. And these are so fun. They keep me moving. As you know, I spend most of my days like working on my laptop, so it's so different. It's so cool. And I'm definitely gonna continue this in 2025. This is something I'm gonna keep doing. Maybe even while I'm traveling, who knows, but this one is really, really cool, and it's good money. For the amount of work, it's really good money versus like the travel agent stuff. This is a keeper. Last but not least is content. So I am still a small creator, but this is still a huge part of my life, my daily routine, and I definitely wish that this could be a more considerable source of income, but hey, everyone starts somewhere. So I have 22,000 followers on TikTok, and this is where I get most of my sponsorships requests. And in 2024, I've also made approximately $4,000 in paid collaboration. I'm also the founder of Nomad Productions, and I spend a lot of time creating content and pitches for production companies that then go and represent me. I've been invited as a Netflix diversity of voice creator for the last 3 years, and every year I go there and I pitch shows and content, and I've even made movies. So yeah, this is a huge, huge, huge part of my life. It's not as profitable as I would want right now, but still. And by the way, if you're interested about that stuff, you should definitely check out my video, How to Pitch a Show to Netflix and Prime, as this was one of my trips that I took to Banff, like I said, to pitch a show, and it's really, really cool. So definitely another source of income, and I think this one is just gonna keep growing. And if you want to help with that, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, or at least just like this video or comment. That would help so much. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep growing in 2025. Now, in total transparency, there are two ways of seeing this. If you're living abroad in really cheap countries, this salary would be more than enough. But because our home base is here in Canada, which has now become one of the most expensive countries in the world, honestly, my salary is barely enough to live comfortably. Believe it or not, but traveling actually really helps out our finances. And you're gonna see that my cost of living is actually cheaper when I'm traveling than when I'm home. So let's get now into my cost of living. Okay, so now let's talk about how much everything costs. Because yes, on paper, my income may sound okay, but I have a lot of expenses to be able to do this and to grow my different sources of income. So like I said, I had to travel for work a lot last year, and the total cost of all my travel expenses came down to about $18,000, which honestly is really not that bad. This is considering flights, transportation, accommodation, food, and all other expenses. So roughly, that means that my cost of living when I am abroad is $3,000. Now let's compare that to my cost of living here in Canada, and I'm gonna give you the full breakdown of what everything costs for me here. So my mortgage is $1,500 per month. When you add utilities, internet, hydro, all that stuff, it comes to about $2,000 a month. Groceries are $700 a month each, and we limit our restaurants to once a week maximum. So we spend on average $500 combined on restaurants per month. Our gas is $250 per month. Insurance for the house, the car, and our personal insurance is about $200 a month each. House repairs, car repairs, and all the stuff that we need, because there's always something breaking or you always need something, is easily where we spend $500 to $700 a month. So All of that combined, the cost of living in Canada is $4,500 a month, which is $1,500 more than when we're abroad. Isn't that crazy? I've went back into our expenses and everything, and I've noticed that when we're abroad, we actually become a lot more financially savvy. And because we're living out of our suitcases, we're renting, we don't have a car, we don't have anything to like think of when it comes to like car repairs, house, we need this for the house, we need blah 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 blah. This really helps keep our costs low. So here's the final answer to the question, how do we do it? Here are all of my pro tips. We work full time, we are not on vacation, and we continue to earn money as we are traveling. We stretch our budget for long periods of times, as the longer you go, the more affordable it becomes. Try renting an Airbnb for a week versus 5 weeks versus 2 months. You're always gonna get a way better deal when you rent long term than for short periods of time. And we aim for comfort, but not luxury when we're traveling. We do save money every month towards our travel when we are home, so that when we're abroad, the price of the plane ticket and things like that does not come as a surprise or out of our budget. Honestly, we don't really buy new clothes or gadgets or anything unnecessary, as traveling is our priority and we'd much rather travel the world than have a huge walk-in closet with 1,000 pairs of shoes or whatever. We balance our destinations between more expensive ones like Costa Rica, for example, and more affordable destinations like Guatemala. And we're always open to the unexpected. Like, we don't mind changing our plans if we find a crazy cheap flight to somewhere or an amazing deal, or we have friends that are somewhere and they're like, hey, you want to share a house? It's going to be super cheap. Like, we always remain open to all of those things, so that also helps to keep our costs low. We travel carry-on only. We do cook most of our meals even when we're traveling. Again, this becomes our routine. We're not on vacation. We travel slow. So that means that we stay at the same places for longer periods of times, and it just avoids huge transportation costs. And there you have it. Those were all of my pro tips, all of my expenses, all of what I've earned. I feel bare naked in front of you guys, but I hope this is helpful. I hope that you guys can also kind of look at the numbers and see what makes sense for you. And again, it's not because we are doing it with this salary and this budget that you can't on a different budget, and not at all. It's really about your own lifestyle and your own choices. And I used to travel as a backpacker dirt cheap back in the days. It's just that now that I'm older, honestly, my back won't allow me to sleep in a hammock or a bunk bed anymore, but I used to do it. And as you can see, living here in Canada is rough. We could save even more if this wasn't our base, but my family is here, we purchased a property here, but we're definitely open to exploring different bases. And I did a video about the shocking cost of groceries here in Canada if you want to check that out. So Jamie and I are definitely not closed to the idea of maybe getting a second base somewhere else, or even changing this base maybe one day. So we'll see. We're super open to hearing your thoughts. Let us know in the comment, what is your favorite digital nomad base? So far, we've tried Medellin in Colombia, but we didn't feel safe enough to say that this would be our base. Loved Costa Rica, but it's, again, too expensive to be a base. Love the UK, this is where Jamie is from, but it's a bit too expensive for us right now, so that's also a no-go. But we are open to trying different places, and 2025, we are definitely doing a Euro tour. So I've heard about Banksco. We're curious to try Madeira and Lisbon, even though I don't think these destinations are as cheap as they used to be, but We'll see. We're open to everything. Let me know in the comments what is your favorite base. Obviously, Asia is gonna come up a lot because it's still so affordable, but it's kind of too far for us to be our base. Asia is more like where we travel to, where we're gonna do pit stops for long periods of times, but I don't think it's ever gonna be a base, or never say never. You never know. But anyways, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. And overall, to wrap things up, with my salary and my partner's salaries, we are, yes, fully capable of nomading across the globe. We're not to a point where we can go to the luxury destinations like the French Polynesia and Tahiti, Hawaii, Maldives, the south of France, Barbados, and places like that. But we are still very privileged to be able to afford this lifestyle together, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. We are making it work and we are happy. That is all that matters. So let me know if I didn't answer any questions that you might have. Put them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And thank you again for watching. See you next week. Bye.